The scene begins with Teddy Petrovski, the legendary Polish boxer, living through the worst nightmare imaginable. During the Nazi occupation of Warsaw, our hero was captured and sent to a concentration camp. There, while breaking rocks without the luxury of a good breakfast or a decent training session, Teddy met Yannick, a young fan who reminded him of his former glory days. But, of course, there wasn't much time for nostalgia when surrounded by Nazi soldiers ready to turn any misstep into a death sentence. One day, an older prisoner decided to share an escape plan. Great idea, right? Well, until the soldiers found out and decided to handle the situation with their signature subtlety. Smashing his head with a shovel. Subtlety was not exactly the Nazis' strong suit. Meanwhile, Yannick got himself into trouble by stealing some apples from a German officer's house. But the joy was short-lived, as he, Teddy, and the poor old man Eric were dragged away for a walk to the execution site. Eric had the honor of participating in a Nazi-style game of hit the apple on the target. The problem? The target was his own head. When Teddy was called for the next round of this sadistic game, he simply ate the apple and said he wasn't afraid of the Nazis. The result? The officer lost his temper and decided to take his anger out on Yannick. While Teddy dealt with the guilt of putting Yannick in danger, the Nazis were busy making conditions in the camp even worse. Less food, more work, and a new, sadistic form of entertainment. A soldier threw a piece of bread on the ground to watch the prisoners fight over it. As a true boxer, Teddy was forced to join the competition, but the game changed when he dominated everyone with his golden punches. This caught the attention of a Nazi officer who, surprise, also enjoyed boxing. He challenged Teddy to a fight, thinking he would win easily, but Teddy knocked the guy out. Now, here's where things get interesting. Instead of executing him, the Nazis decided to turn Teddy into the star of a local boxing tournament. Sounds like a movie script, right? Something like Cinderella Man, but in hell. Each victory meant extra food, and Teddy used this to his advantage, sharing it with his fellow prisoners, especially Yannick, who was getting sick fast. The problem is that pneumonia isn't cured with watery soup and a pat on the back. So, Teddy, like a true hero, went to the Nazi officer and negotiated his freedom, or something close to it. He promised to fight in exchange for medicine. The deal was struck, and Teddy went straight from the ring to the infirmary, where a kind nurse, yes, even among the Nazis, there were a few decent souls, gave him the medicine. Thanks to Teddy's boxing skills and determination, Yannick recovered and even got a job at the camp's hospital, ensuring he no longer had to spend hours being exploited like a slave. Now, if there's a place worse than a normal hospital, it's a hospital inside a Nazi concentration camp. But guess what? Yannick, on top of being imprisoned, also had to recover in this wonderful horror spa. There, he met a girl his age, bringing a rare moment of sweetness amid the nightmare. Meanwhile, the rest of the camp was so bad that prisoners weren't even treated like people, and you don't need spoilers to know how that ends. Every day, hundreds were sent to the surprise showers, which, well, never involved towels. Meanwhile, Teddy was busy punching Nazis in the ring and distributing food and medicine. But the German officers were getting impatient with all these punches to the face. After all, nobody likes to see their favorite team constantly losing. One day, a high-ranking officer appeared and gave a warning. Asterisk, I've enjoyed the fights, but your boxer contract can expire at any moment. Asterisk, the next day, to try and balance the odds, they brought in a new fighter, bigger, stronger, and probably fed something better than watery soup. The fight was intense. Teddy took a beating but used his fighter's IQ and won again. The reward was bigger, he shared everything with his fellow prisoners, and for a brief moment, the camp felt a little less like hell. But don't worry, the script still had plenty of tragedy left. A little boy who loved watching the fights and, by the way, was the son of a German general, caught typhus and died. The general, who never blinked while sending children to their deaths, suddenly discovered the concept of grief. Amid punches and tragedies, Teddy saw one of his former opponents being carried away as a corpse. As if things weren't bad enough, a new group of prisoners was tricked and sent to the gas chambers, thinking they were going for a shower. Not that a shower would have worked miracles in that place. Meanwhile, Yannick's friend was caught stealing food, which, of course, meant a death sentence. But she didn't go down without a fight. She grabbed a soldier's gun, shot him, and chaos erupted. In the end, the girl died, the prisoners destined for the gas chamber were executed before even entering, and the German general, having the worst luck of the day, got shot in the hand. Yannick, devastated, ran to Teddy and cried on his shoulder because, clearly, fate had decided this kid couldn't have a second of peace. But wait, it gets worse. The general put two and two together and realized Yannick was friends with the dead girl. So, like any good villain, he decided to take his fury out on the boy. Teddy, tired of watching this endless cycle of suffering, begged for the kid's release. And here came the classic earn it deal. If Teddy could defeat Germany's best boxer, Yannick would go free. But because one fight would be too easy, first he had to face a lineup of soldiers. After thinking it over, as if he had many options, Teddy agreed. The next day, the tournament began. One by one, he took down the soldiers, proving that willpower and technique could beat even the Nazi diet. But in the grand match against the German champion, the rules suddenly changed. They forced him to drink a mysterious liquid, never a good idea. From then on, Teddy started feeling dizzy but kept fighting. In the end, the Nazis cheated and declared victory for their boxer. Teddy protested, but of course no one cared. And then came the cruelest moment. Yannick, already broken by torture, was thrown in front of Teddy, and the general ordered them to fight. Teddy, who could be many things but not a monster, refused. So the general simply shot the boy in front of him. As an extra punishment, Teddy was tied to a post overnight, because witnessing a friend's murder wasn't enough of a punishment. The next day, he freed himself and went to the crematorium. There, he found one of Yannick's toys and had his "I swear this won't go unanswered" moment. Cut to the rematch. Teddy stormed into the ring and challenged the German boxer again, with nothing left to lose. The fight began. He took some hits but soon turned the tide and, with an incredible punch, knocked out the Nazi. The audience, who once loved seeing him lose, was now cheering for him. Because, let's be honest, everyone loves an underdog who turns the tables. Now, I would never drink anything the Nazis gave me, and I would definitely knock out the general with a punch to the face. What stood out to me the most was how resistance can take many forms, even inside a boxing ring. In the end, Teddy left the camp, finally free, and returned to Warsaw, where he opened a boxing gym to teach children. Because, after everything, someone had to pass on what truly matters: knowing how to fight and never letting yourself be knocked down for good. I hope you all enjoyed the video. See you next time.